works, you don't change anything.
Yeah, absolutely clear. Now we are live. So very good morning, friends. At the outset, let me welcome each and every one of you for this Sunday special webinar series exclusively on artificial intelligence. This is our second week in this series, and we have with us an eminent personality, an AI expert, and a resident honorary resident director of Microsoft India, and a long-standing good friend of mine for more than 30 years, Sri Venkatarangan Thirumalai. He has been speaking on this particular subject, artificial intelligence and its application to various people. Let it be teachers, students, industries, office applications, technicians, startup, everybody. So entrepreneurs, the government of India, especially this recent budget and even the previous budget, there has been exclusive allocation of funds by our government for the development of AI and its application in our country, and especially for entrepreneurs hand-holding exercise. And there has also been association of National Association on Artificial Intelligence of India. So many developments are happening, and with all this background, it is our endeavor, along with our Venkatarangan Thirumalai, to bring this subject before all of you. And today, we are going to take this subject to another level, machine learning. And we understand as a human being, as a small baby, how our brain understands. So what we see, what we listen, and what we read, we comprehend, we understand. And brain is able to understand what we are able to comprehend. And over a period of time, especially whenever we speak about banking transactions, today, if I go and withdraw 10 lakhs and above cash from bank, immediately an alert will go to the bank, and bank will call my number and ask whether are you the right person who have withdrawn the cash. In case I do multiple transactions online, again call will come. Now there is no human intervention here, but we are able to see machines are able to understand, and it alerts human being, and through some mechanism. Let us understand from our Venkatarangan Thirumalai. Now, generally as a human being, if we have to learn, we learn by a supervised learning. What is supervised learning? Somebody teaches us. So only, of course, even Ekalaiva, he was not unsupervised, but he learned by not directly under the supervision of a guru, but he took Manasikam Dronacharya as his guru. Now, when we speak about learning, and machine will learn, we'll understand the application. Should machine requires a guru? Will machine will learn automatically, or we need to spoon feed, like how a mother will spoon feed a baby and a guru will spoon feed? So let us listen to Venkatarangan. Over to Venkatarangan.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. GK. It's a Diwali following week, so let me wish all of you a wonderful Diwali you would have had, and many wishes for that. It's a very interesting example you gave, Dr. GK. So I'll just spend a second or two on the example you said, and then go on to machine learning. Sometimes it's very, very interesting to hear the practical aspects that people outside the technology practicing field you coming from the financial valuation and all that area, it's a very interesting observation on the 10 lakh example you gave. I remembered my father often telling me, who ran his publishing business for 50 years, that when those days, there are a lot of cash transactions, obviously. I'm talking about 50 years or at least 30 years before. He'll say, I'll write a check for self-check and give it to my father and an assistant. So he will go to the bank, get the check from Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, one of the public sector banks. He will say, if I send my assistant without asking questions, they will give me 1 lakh. But if I go in person and sign TNC Varadan and give a check, they will say, are you TNC Varadan? Get that person assistant. He has to vouch that you are the actual person, because the bank and the staff have built a familiarity with the assistant. They know my father's signature, but they haven't seen his face. So that's the familiarity they add. But can we scale it today? In today's world, with the number of branches we have, number of transactions we are doing, number of people we have, number of customers we have, banking was slightly more privileged in those days. Today, everybody is banking in India. So you can't take that. It's not to say that personalized experience is not important. You can't do it today practically. That's where the example you said of computers automating this comes into picture. That is where artificial intelligence comes into picture. Whenever we say about this, I often get a resistance from people. When artificial intelligence or computers is taking the human personality, human touch. We also have seen the WhatsApp forwards that an elderly man goes to bank every day to withdraw 10 rupees to see the people and interact. That's a good for a WhatsApp forward. We can laugh at it, we can think about it. But practically, today, the amount of transactions and the people we are dealing, it's just not possible to do these kind of human interactions. Not to say they are not important, but you can scale them. That is where machine learning and computers come in, because they can take decisions at great speeds. With humans, we can't do it. We will slow down things. We will say only 10 transactions can happen in a day in a branch. We don't want it. So that's the power. So we have to understand the value that humans bring in, the value that the computers bring in. These are two different things. And we're able to combine them, we get the best results. Now, I'll take one more example before answering your question. A couple of years back, just before the pandemic, me and a partner, we started a company called Docu3C in the US. This is to analyze financial service documents and what we call as 3 Cs. We call it as classification, compliance, and comprehension. So what we wanted to do, the startup is not there anymore, but what we wanted to do is go through a customer's documents that they have submitted to the bank or the NBFCs or whatever in the US, investment bankers predominantly, high net worth individuals. Can we build a profile of a customer using machine learning? That's what we were trying to do. What we learned is, when an investment advisor for a high net worth individual or a investment personal office was moving and he hand over to the next person, he's giving some 10,000 or 20,000 documents. Here are my 100 customers. Here are the 20,000 documents that I've handled over the years for these customers. Here it is. The profile of the customer is in their CRM system, whatever. But I am joining as the new manager. I'm given 10,000 documents in a folder or whatever, SharePoint, Google Drive, whatever. It becomes humanly impossible for me to comprehend those documents. That is where we brought in machine learning. We trained that system on the documents, and this person could actually get a much better view of all the documents that his clients is collecting it. Second is, of course, KYC kind of requirements in the US, also the compliance, because it's very strict in the US. So can we look at these documents and come out with a recommendation score to the manager saying that your customers are compliant, they are not compliant, here is the compliance score. We were able to do that. Third is, we wanted to classify these documents, put them into buckets so that it becomes very easy for retrieval. All these three comes back to the question that you asked, supervised and unsupervised learning. This is both a supervised and unsupervised learning, where we trained the model on supervised learning on thousands of documents. We created these documents fictionally and trained the system so that they will be able to do this classification, do the comprehension, do the compliance. And we uploaded all the compliance rules. We wrote them as machine comprehensible text. This is pre-generative AI. This is pre-chat GPT. So we had to write it. Today with chat GPT, we could do all these 3 Cs very easily with a single or a set of prompts. So that is the way we use all these technologies. on a very practical example I'm giving, that you have these documents. Can you build a model out of this? That is what we try to do.
Wonderful. So, what I understand is a machine learning means a algorithm can be fed into, and they can actually go through that algorithm, and whatever the algorithm says. Generally, an algorithm will be like a decision tree. So, if ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, first step to find the determinant. Next step, it is greater than 0, equal to 0, lesser than 0. So it gives some mathematical steps, and it follows that steps. And each step, if satisfies, not satisfies, then you have the result, and it will try to do that. Now, one thing which I want to take cue from you. One is the supervised learning, where humans, we give instruction, and through that they are able to do it. Now, can machine be learning it unsupervised? I'll give you an example where nowadays, as an audio, because I'm from a finance field, I always speak in money terms, because the only language I know is only money language. Now, if in a fraud detection, see today fraudsters, they are more faster than they are like thieves are faster than policemen. So there is a book written by Ron Weber. It says, to be a good auditor, one should be good at the client's business than the client himself. Then only he is a good auditor. So now, if a thief is able to outsmart a machine, because I write an algorithm, I say, maybe if you do more than one transaction or two transactions within 5 minutes, within 10 minutes, then it is a red flag. Now, as a perpetrator, I know that these are the kind of okay, CCTV's camera is there. They will monitor me. So there are various films where the hero will go and he will remove that slot and he will put a pre-recorded slot in that CCTV camera. Then he will go. So now the unsupervised learning, can the machine have built an algorithm by seeing the patterns and the trends? The moment the patterns are different, for example, traffic movement, money movement, transactions, the inventory movement, production movement, so where all money is involved, so passenger movement, so I can predict certain things. Today, weather is the next thing which I will be asking you at the end, because can machine learn to comprehend how a weather can will actually react? So those are all the next level thing. So a prediction, because the most important thing is, in banks today, almost all banks from current year, Reserve Bank of India is going to go for a concept called credit risk model. Meaning, henceforth, the people used to see your past records. Oh, this is your past record. So you are a good person, you are a good man, you are a good boy. Venkatarangan is a good boy. I'll give credit to you. Now, the bank will also see your past, will also see your future, and also will monitor your future based on your past track record and your future. So your current business, your current GST rating, your current outstanding, your current litigation, maybe past you are very good, but currently you are struggling. So your credit risk is coming down. So your credit risk assessment is not only past, it is also future. So prediction. Now, machine can learn this, and because the moment we speak about prediction, I'm sure the job for the people who used to write horoscopes and kundali, they will be out of business. The machines will actually write kundalis and it will give predictions. So what's Venkat's take on this predictive analysis?
It's a very, very large topic you asked in one question, but let me try to break it down. See, the supervised and unsupervised learning, what you said, the algorithms, giving instructions, rule-based, these were the ways we trained computers in the past. I won't even say pre-artificial intelligence day, but post-chat GPT or post-transformer, post-generative AI, and a lot of things has happened now. And it's not one single product which has led to it. But the whole way we are using these large language models, which has happened in the last few years with artificial intelligence, all this terms and all this way of thinking, supervised and unsupervised learning, has kind of changed. We don't need to give computers we still need a lot of training data, but we don't need to give step-by-step instructions or rules to computers. There are multiple things we'll do. I'll explain that in a minute. But generally today, the way artificial intelligence and machine learning are used in analytics is there are 4 things that these things can do. We'll start in the reverse for your question. They are very good now in anomaly detection, which is what you've been saying, fraud detection, whatever you call. It's an anomaly detection. Especially as auditors, you are trained to look at an anomaly in a P&L or a balance sheet or an asset or whatever. Suddenly you're able to see, I'm having more of my consumables are going more than my asset. You are not buying so many machines, but you are buying disproportionate amount of consumables. Ink can be in a printing press or whatever is in the industry. There is a leakage of consumables happening because you can't be consuming so much of consumables when your machinery is limited. There is this classic stories anomaly, which is often said to Nalli Chinnaswamy Chettiar. This is a hearsay tribal story that Mr. Chettiar, he'll walk through after the shops are closed late in the nights, and just by seeing the empty shelves, he'll do the reordering. There is no computer or anything. Today, I'm sure they have it. This is in the early days of it. But that is in a way, he's detecting, oh, my shelf is empty, which means it is sold. So reversing this is anomaly detection. My consumables are using extremely high, whereas my machinery is not there, then there is a problem. Computers today, artificial intelligence can pick up this anomaly. The beauty of this, they can pick up anomaly in 1 billion transactions, in billion signals, and pick up one, which we humans cannot do. That is the whole point I want to drive, that computers are not replacing humans. They are doing something which we humans cannot do. That is what we need to understand. And they are in this, I can't supervise train them. I can't sit along and train them. It's just not possible. Because 1 billion signals, imagine 1 billion or 1 million Excel column. We just can't even visualize that. We can't comprehend it. But these systems can look at 1 million columns and then 1 million rows, if not more, and then look at an anomaly. This is available today for you in Excel. If you have a Microsoft Copilot subscription, you can use this today. You can load a large volume of data and tell me anomalies. It will tell you anomalies. One of the other examples I'll tell you, most startup founders, if you take, they may not be coming from the accounting background. As auditors, you might be producing a P&L, you might be producing a balance sheet, you might be producing them other reports. But as a CEO, as a founder, I don't know how to read this. That is the biggest problem I've seen. And they can't ask, they feel shy to ask this question. But if I load it to ChatGPT or Google Gemini and say, can you explain to read this document and can you tell me what anomalies I have to read here? I'm taking P&L as a simple example. This could be a machinery ERP report. This could be a human resource report. This could be a defense ordering report. It could be any of that. Now I load it in Excel. I call Copilot or Power BI, whichever tool you're using, and say, can you tell me the anomalies and how do I figure it out? That's a powerful learning that a CEO or a founder or a CXO can train with these tools. So again, the point, if you are seeing the pattern I'm talking about is the system joining with humans, enhancing the human capability. I'll give you a few more examples. Where these anomalies, I like to talk this anomaly a little bit more. People are using 10 years back when the US government had sanctions against Iran. They wanted to know whether Iran is shipping oil, but there is no reliable data coming out of Iran, etc. So what they are doing is sanction busting. So they were using satellite pictures to see what kind of ships are going in and out of Iranian port, which is docking in Iran, and then docking in one of the countries which haven't sanctioned Iran, and US hasn't sanctioned them, and transiting shipping. This is called international water oil change. So from an Iranian ship, this oil will go on to a Malaysian ship or a Russian ship or whatever, and then will go to some other third-party country. This they were able to see using satellites. Satellite is not the point here, but there are millions of ships going across the seas. And how do you identify this ship? Which ship is an oil ship? Which ship is an Iranian ship? Which ship has started from Iran? No human can do this. You can't write rules how to do this. That is where machine learning is coming into saying, you will say that this is the end result I want. You figure out a way how to do this. Then the system will go out and figure out the rules. So it's not actually the rules, it will figure out the ways to do this. That's one example. Today in the Ukraine-Russia war, they are seeing which villages have been vacated by just looking at the smokes coming in and the carbon dioxide emissions coming out of the various villages. When people are there, there's obviously smoke, carbon dioxide, light, etc. This again, it's not like you can't do it earlier, but you're able to do it at a huge scale today. I'll give you one more example in the same thing. A couple of years back, a company I was consulting, they wanted to see what is the production of various priced crops in Tamil Nadu in a region. Say, let's take Coimbatore and the west belt of Tamil Nadu. How much of, I don't know, sugarcane is grown there, but hypothetically, let's take sugarcane. How much of sugarcane is grown this season? They wanted to use satellite data to see the crops pattern and say, this is the sugarcane growth and this is when it will come into production. And can you identify the price so that they can do a edging and a commodity trading for sugarcane pricing in that particular geography. So this way they wanted to do it at a scale across that whole region. You can have people go in and do it. Today there might be surveys being done, but can you use satellite data to do this? Can you take this? That is the kind of the power these machine learnings will bring it to you. And I was talking about anomaly detection. The second one, of course, is what you talked as predictive analytics. Can I predict something? And this is an often example I've told in my earlier podcast also. Netflix, to a very large extent, 90% plus, they can predict what is the next TV show or movie you will watch even before you have decided. We'll have to grasp it correctly. I haven't decided what's the movie that I'm going to watch. I thought it's a free will of me. No. Netflix has figured out that this is the next movie you will watch. And the reason why it's very important, they are not invading your privacy. The reason you click on a video on Netflix or you click on a video on YouTube, immediately it will play. Your VCD player also will not play immediately, but here it will play immediately. Reason is Netflix or YouTube has figured out this is the movie that you will very likely watch, so that they can download it from the US or wherever it is to the nearest server that is closest to you in your ISP or your telco, so that when you click play, the video instantly comes. In fact, YouTube goes one step further. You're watching one video, they're actually downloading a couple of next videos you will watch. Sometimes it will be wrong, but they keep it so that your experience is better. That is the predictive analytics. Can we extend it? Yes. Banks, most often we go to a bank and say, I want 100 rupees today. They will say, sir, I run out of currency. Why can't bank use this predictive analytics to figure out this is Diwali? I'm say Bank of India in Usman Road. I have lots of shops. Cash is going to come in. So I need more lockers today to keep the cash, because it's common sense. Any branch manager who has worked 10 years plus there would have figured it out. But then can you do it across country? I can use predictive analytics to tell the manager, keep so much currency available today. You are going to be in demand, or the vice versa. This again is used today in all our retail stores in Amazon. Why, or Blinkit or Zomato or anything. They're able to give this predictive analytics. Today, for example, Zomato and Swiggy will be able to tell their restaurant partners, tomorrow what is the food you will order. Or in your geography, tomorrow what is the food that will be ordered in the lunch, in the dinner, to a fairly large percentage of accuracy. This again, not to invade privacy. This is to build a model so that the food is available for you. The item that you want is available tomorrow. Those kind of things these things were done earlier, 20 years, 50 years back. Mr. Nalichinnasamy Shetty or Saravana stores would have done this, but that would have required years and years of experience of the founder to have been in the shop floor to gather this knowledge. Today, it is available to any line manager. So that is predictive analytics. Number 2, anomaly detection, predictive analytics. I'll say 2 more and wrap this section. Next is, of course, comprehending this data in a way that humans can. That is natural language generation. That is where these large language models really enhance. Last one is called natural language querying. What I give a question, most of you earlier, we would have been forced to learn the Tally querying pattern or SQL querying construction or Excel formulas. None of us want to learn this, but we want to say, can you tell me what is my likely order next month for Diwali, which I should order today, 6 months in advance? I want to give a query in English, but it has to be somehow translated to SQL query or command instructions. Today, those are possible with large language models. So 4 things. When you take about analytics, they are very good in anomaly detection, predictive analytics. They are good in natural language generation or explaining you. They're also good in natural language querying. This is the broad umbrella.
Well, so that's a very detailed one. Now, from a layman user perspective, I am only having a machine, a laptop or a desktop, and I use one tool. So maybe an AI tool or whatever you say. I don't know what is happening at the back end. I get something at the front end. So I say dashboard, so reports. So something happening at the back end. So you have been mentioning about it. So now let me put it like this. So I need my tool, whatever the AI machine learns and it gives me. So can it give me a report in the form of a data visual form, like a report or like a pie diagram or whatever it is? And my data, sometimes my data can be a medical data, personal data, financial data, which requires validation. So it can be many things. So whether the data are just trash data or it is really a live data. So by cross checking and verification. So this data validation also will machine learning will learn and will it do. And I may also need some performance metrics, mean. So out of the 100 people or 1,000 people which I analyze, or the past 1,000 transactions, 1,000 customers which I analyze, what is the mean transaction, mode transaction, average transaction, what is the highest value on a particular date or a time. So it has to give me some regression values, correlation values, mean, median, mode values. So some performance metrics. And can it also give me patterns? Now of all this, you seem to be better. There are 90% or you are better than the 90%. You are the least 10%. So many people are ahead of you. So some kind of analysis. Generally, doing all this manually will take time. Now, since you have said about the algorithm, now whether all this, whatever I said, because I'm able to comprehend from whatever points you have mentioned, apart from predictive analysis, because prediction is the future, it is extrapolation. I also want the past also to be analyzed. So whatever data that is available also it should give me, and also it should give me the prediction through certain algorithms. Now, these kind of reporting, what kind of tool I can use? For example, I may use it for my accounting data, bank data, medical data. As ever, I'm a doctor. I'm a pharmacist. I have a lot of patients data. So I'm an accountant. I have a lot of business data. I'm a banker. I have a lot of customers data. I'm a marketing guy. I have a lot of my customers preference data. I also understand whenever I do search of an air ticket between Chennai and Mumbai, Chennai and Thiruvananthapuram, Chennai and Bengaluru, next 10 minutes later, I get an email stating that, oh, Mr. GKR, we understand you are going to Bengaluru. Following are the probable hotels which you can stay. So I'm getting certain emails. Is it the result of the predictive analysis? Is it the result of predictive analysis? Over to Venkat.
Okay. The last example you quoted is more looking at the action that you have done. It is triggered by your action, your explicit interest. What I'm talking about in predictive is even before Dr. GKR searching for a plane ticket, the plane company should be predicting that today GKR will travel with us. Not one GKR, but an aggregation. On an average, so many people with Dr. GKR's profile will travel, so that I have demand more in business class today. I have lesser demand in economy, so I have to reconfigure my flights today. That is the data that the airline needs, which is where this predictive analytics actually comes in. Let's step back a bit. You asked a very detailed question, but what are we at the end of the day doing with all these tools and techniques that you have been trained as a financial, as a data analyst, as a data scientist for so many years, is taking decisions, right? I look at always from a founder perspective. What do these data at the end of the day mean? It has to help me to take a decision. That is where today these tools are moving into, not only giving you the data, not only analyzing past and telling you anomaly, not only telling you predictive what is likely to come, not only giving you summary, they actually can tell you this is the decision that you can take based on the data that I've already seen or predicting. That's what we want. At the end of the day, I want to be told by the system, please take this action and then back it with the data. Why? These two are very important. I'm not giving autonomy to the computers. There is a difference there. I'm not asking it to fire and kill people, but I want the trigger switch. But I want to say, here is the terrorist. I've pointed the gun at him. You just authorize, I'll fire. That is what I've ordered. I've kept all this in your Amazon shopping cart. Likely what are likely to watch, or these are the movies that I've picked up for you. You want to watch, press play. The empowerment is with the human, but the data is given by the computer. That's what I'm talking about. Decision making is where these tools are moving. In the past, we had these tools analyze data and give us visualization, charts, and all that. That these tools can very happily give, but they can also tell you the decisions and back it with saying, this is why I'm backing it. You're a doctor, it will say, I analyzed millions of surgeries done across the world. For this patient with this data, blood flow today, I'm recommending this surgery. And then, of course, it will tell you why it does. See, these systems could make a mistake. That is where the human has to look at the further data to do it. Sometimes when you're in a battlefield, you don't have time to react. That's where you have to give more autonomy to the systems. But most often, you need to have a human in the loop. Answering your second part of the question quickly before we wrap, I'll always recommend you using an analytics tool that you are already familiar in the ecosystem. You're in the Microsoft ecosystem, PowerPoint, Excel, and with Copilot is a beautiful place for you to start. You want to go a little higher, larger data volume, Power BI with this. You are still a developer or a technical person. Azure has got Azure Data Studio, which can do a lot of more comprehensive things. You are
Azure
Data Studio, but that requires technical know-how. It's more, it helps you to fine-tune databases and all the other things. But that's a powerful tool that's available for you. Google has recently renamed their Data Studio into Google Looker Studio. That is it's told to be a little bit more end-user friendly. You can look at that. All the data is available in Google Cloud. You can bring data from various pieces, and Google Looker can analyze that for you and give it to you. And all these ads, machine learning and artificial intelligence available for you. If you're a small business, you can start with Zogo Analytics. That's a very powerful tool. They have a lot of templates available. If you're looking at analyzing social media transactions, you want to bring your Salesforce data, you want to bring your Twitter, Facebook, or your banking transaction. It also integrates with Tally. I haven't used it, but I read Zogo integrates with Tally. So a lot of small business with Tally analysis you can do with Zogo. So or you are a large organization, there is this tool called Tableau, which is a Salesforce company, if I remember it right. So there are all these tools. Pick up the one that you're in the ecosystem that you're already familiar with, and then you can take it from there. Move towards a model where you are allowing these tools to actually come to you with the decision or what you need to do, rather than just looking at using them to only analyze your data.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I think such a detailed discussion today we had exclusively on machine learning and its application. And viewers, thank you very much for joining today. And we will be back again next Sunday, almost the same time, for yet another version of AI, and with the practical application and illustration. Maybe we'll also try to bring before you one of the tool to illustrate and give you a live demo of how the data can be crunched, analytics can be done, and all this stuff. So thank you, Venkatarangan Thirumalai, for joining for today's session. And also, once again, thank you all for joining on time. So see you tomorrow, next week, same time.
Thank you, Dr. GK, and everyone. Thanks.